here today in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We got Lambeau in the backdrop, about 40 degrees here. Try not to shake this camera as much as possible as we preview the Los Angeles Chargers coming to town for what is going to be the toughest part of the schedule. This is going to be a 3-game stretch that is really going to test our Packers fanhood and everything else. But I will say, heading into this season and when the schedule came out, this is the most anticipated game for myself, one that I circled on the calendar because Justin Herbert, one of the true elite quarterbacks in the NFL, is coming to 1265 Lombardi. This is the best quarterback to come to Green Bay since Brady was here for the NFC Championship game. I'm a huge fan of Justin Herbert. Talk about Jordan Love's live arm and Justin Herbert. He's in that category right up there with Patrick Mahomes. So I'm super excited as a fan to watch him play some ball here this weekend. And that said, Dave, let's go ahead and kick off this Week 11 preview of the LA Chargers coming into Green Bay.
Oh, man. Well, I know you had some stuff to say about, the recent retiree of Brian Bulaga, shout out Iowa, retiring as a Packer today. And then the recent inductees of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, starting with Carter holding down the fort at right. That's one segment that I think we should get into here in the offseason, debating about whether the 2014 offensive line is truly the best Packers offensive line in the history, or should we go with the 2003 offensive line? But yeah, Brian Bulaga, true fixture at right tackle for all those years. I know that he was paramount in David Bakhtiari's development. Even Bakhtiari had a sort of a cryptic tweet yesterday about like a certain date. I don't know what that was. But yeah, shout out Brian Bulaga. And then for our other two pass rushers that are getting inducted in the Packers Hall of Fame, Aaron Campman, talk about draft and develop of a player. The guy wasn't even on the first third down pass rush group his rookie season as a Packers. It took him really about 3 seasons to get things going. And then he was a first-team All-Pro, led the NFL in sacks with 15 and a half 1 year. It was unfortunate that we transitioned to the 3-4 that doesn't really fit his sort of play style and talent, but talk about a great player that he was. You take even just a look at like his physique and the way that he transformed it. Being a true pass rush specialist, great in the run along with the pass. And that same thing can be said about the Packers' all-time leading sacker and Clay Matthews Jr., one of my favorite Packers of all time. I have to say the most electric player to watch on defense next to Charles Woodson. 6-time Pro Bowl player. So many great plays over the years between the sacks and then him laying it all out in the line and crashing down in the run plays. That, I mean, not only against the pass, but the run. And he could also cover guys as well, whether it be in the slot or
throw him in
tight
the
end.
Preston coverage.
Yeah, he'd be perfect for the way Joe Barry loves to play Preston Smith today. But Dave, I'll toss it over your way if you have any Clay memories or Aaron Campman. Maybe Aaron not as much, but I mean some of the first things that come to mind with Clay is his rookie season in 2009 when we're playing Brett Favre for the first time in Minnesota. And we all know about Adrian Peterson, how he probably has one of the hardest handshakes in the history of the NFL. People love to talk about it. Clay Matthews introduced himself to Sunday Night Football and the rest of the league by stripping Adrian Peterson and making a house call on it. I mean, completely stripped the ball away from him and ran in the end zone. People were like, who's that? Yeah, that's our first-round draft pick, Clay Matthews. That's one of my favorite plays by Clay. And then another one would be that 2010 Super Bowl run game against the Cowboys where he's like, I'm feeling it tonight, 12. And he had an interception for a touchdown, a sack. He was all over the place. He truly represented what it means to play with your hair on fire. But, Dave, you got any favorite Clay memories yourself?
Yeah, you took my – I have a few. You took one of the ones on my list, which was the 62-yard touchdown on the Cowboys. Two that really stick out is that Buffalo Bills game when he was going for the sack record. He had 4 sacks in that game. It's on the 2010 highlights, like that Super Bowl run DVD of Quay just completely wrecking the game. Obviously, you can't not mention the spill at Pickett, right? I mean, major moment in the Super Bowl. That just goes to show you that the look, long hair, Cali swag. There was a lot of film study and a lot of intelligence that went into that, of knowing what they're doing, and not only diagnosing it, but the physicality of wrecking that play. And then there was another one where he runs down Brandon Jacobs from behind and forces a fumble against the Giants. So he's just a high motor guy, high intelligent guy. I don't think he gets enough credit for his intelligence because he's such a goofball. But you're looking at the guys of Woodson and Matthews and even Green going onto the field and saying, Wood is out. Everyone's looking for a leader. It is time. It is you. We're missing that from this current team's defense. A guy that everyone just looks to and says, I know this guy's going to handle business. We're going to follow right in line with this guy.
Who would you say? That's probably a good transition to, hey, this weekend's game, the state of the defense, where we're at, like with our current pass rusher.
Yeah.
Like now with Rasul being traded, who is that sort of rah-rah, let's rally the troops? I mean, is it K9? Is it Keyshawn Nixon? Is it Ja if he plays this Sunday? Like, it does feel as though that we're missing that sort of vocal leader on the defense to get them in check.
So I would say it was Rasul. Then Rasul's gone. If Ja's not on the field, and I don't think Ja's much of a vocal leader anyway. I mean, yeah, he does the seatbelt and he does the gritty with Jefferson, but that's all seems individual. It doesn't seem like it's a rally the troops moment. I hate to say it's a look at me moment, but it is kind of like I'm more pumping myself up. As interesting as this sounds, I'm going to say Carrington Valentine is that guy or will be that guy. Everyone seems to rally around him when he gets amped up.
I like it. I was going to say Quay Walker for the energy that he brings.
I mean, he hasn't been on the field, though.
I know, he's not as much of a vocal. He was back at practice this week. So, I mean, from an energy standpoint, he brings it. I mean, even Matt LaFleur's went as far as saying that Quay, you notice a difference, and we expect him to maybe create some turnovers this weekend because they know he has that sort of potential. That's a good point, good time to bring up, Dave, that our new contract extension pass rusher, Rashawn Gary, now has 1 sack in his last 5 games. Preston's picked up the slack with 5 in his last 5. I watched the All-22. My dad brought up a great point of he's like, it feels like Rashawn's rushing from one side of the field, the left side, a bunch, but he's not really moving around all too much. The All-22 confirmed that Rashawn, they're not moving him around quite a bit. Now, just like they asked LaFleur, he is getting chipped by running backs and tight ends, and they're putting more focus on his side. But, I mean, you pay him that type of money, like, we need to get him back on the sack sheet this Sunday against Justin Herbert.
I think that Joe Barry's going to play the defense like Pittsburgh did at the very last play of the game. Just line up 8 guys at the goal line, rush 3, and that's going to be our defense for the entire game. That's the way you combat the Herbert.
Well, I know what my first thought was after watching the Steelers game, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to see Justin Herbert come to Lambeau. He's maybe going to throw for 500 yards like Phillip Rivers did back in 2015 when we won that game. And I'm like, Joe Barry's probably going to have cold sweats in his sleep thinking about how to stop Justin Herbert because he couldn't even do that with Kenny Pickett in that offense. And I'm like, shoot, I don't even think Justin Herbert has to throw for 300 or 400 yards. Just do what the Steelers did and hand the ball off to Austin Eckler. Why would you even pass the ball when we gave up like 5 explosive plays in the run game? And Joe Barry didn't even answer the question yesterday as far as what's the pros and the cons of having 2 guys with their hand in the dirt. Instead, he talked about 5 plays making the difference of the game. But I don't even think Justin Herbert has to do all too much. Just hand the ball off and watch our safeties miss some tackles.
Yeah, I mean, but the Chargers are notorious in terms of getting in their own head. Like, they like to showcase their talent. Like, I can't see them running the ball, even though it makes perfect sense. I can't see them running the ball 45 times and throwing it 12 times with Justin Herbert. Like, they're gonna take their shots with Justin Herbert.
It'd be the smart thing to do, but to your point, their offense is known for spreading it out. They're always playing with 3 wide receivers. He's in shotgun. I think he can have their way with us. However they want to slice and dice it, they can be able to pick apart our defense, and he can 500 yards through the air rushing.
I see this going very much how the Lions game went. Not in terms of like the picks and stuff like that was the momentum switchers, but our offense getting off slow, Chargers just jumping right down our throats. Like, they get off to a 17-0 lead. LaFleur is completely out of, like, you have to throw away the script. We're looking at how I always mention, you're looking at that 10-point play, even though there's no such thing as a 10-point play in football, and it just compounds each other. I could see this getting ugly very, very quickly.
How about this? And a player that's right up there with and route running and release. Keenan Allen had 150 against us in that game. He could very well, fast forward to 2020, have a very similar task at hand for the Valentine brothers on Sunday. They looked great in the Steelers, but this is going to be the game that you're like, all right, what, are they not developing good enough? No, that's just an elite quarterback and Justin Herbert that's going to have his way. I very play safeties like Clinton Dix used to back in the day. Like, he's going to rush 3, drop 8, and anything underneath is going to be easy pickings for Herbie.
Yeah, but hey, one real quick thing I wouldn't move around too much, getting a little bit choppy on me. But besides that, I like this as a trial by fire. Like, you have Preston that you pay enough, you have Gary that you pay enough, Clark, another guy that could get after the quarterback. Like, pass rush has to get home to relieve some of the pressure for your defensive backs. But I didn't necessarily like the game plan last week. I know that you have 2 rookies that are inexperienced as your boundary cornerbacks, but sooner or later they're going to get beat. They're going to get, tested. The only way to get better is through experience. So just line them up and let them go. Like, be a little bit more physical. This whole 8 yards, 9 yards, 10 yards off thing is going to be a problem, because Herbert's just going to take the easiest guy. He's just going to completely kind of nickel and dime us, and when we finally give up a big play, we'll give up a big play. But that's kind of my thing. I expect the cornerbacks to get tested, and I kind of want them to do a baptism by fire type approach. Like, just let them be on an island, let them get experience. Oh boy. You there, bud?
Yeah, I'm kind of in and out. Are you with me, Dave?
I'm with you.
I totally agree with it.
I still got you.
This is a nail in the coffin. I got the sun coming out, so I'll stop moving around and start to warm up here a little bit. This is a nail in the coffin game for Joe Barry. When they look back in the season and they drop a 40 burger on us and they dog walk us, that's going to be the one that they turn to. But I'm completely fine with watching our 2 young quarterbacks take their lumps throughout this game. I've got no problems with it. If anything, I was going to give some kudos and a cheer to our cornerbacks coach and Greg Williams, G-Money as they call him. I think he's done a tremendous job with those young cornerbacks, with what he did with Rasul. I even think I'm going to give a pretty big shout out to Keyshawn Nixon, who's I think probably our best tackler in the secondary. And while I watched our safeties miss some tackles against the Steelers, he was great in run support, playing up near the line of scrimmage. If anything, I want another helping of Keyshawn Nixon helping out in the run game much more. And then not to talk like bring up special teams already, but he's leading the NFL by a pretty wide
Yes.
margin, 150 in kick return yards. And I think he's about to break one. If we're going to win this game by some long shot, he needs to have a house call. We need to have like a pick six on defense, like the Vikings game. He's starting to break some loose, and it's only a matter of time, like last year, where he could take one all the way. But if there's a pretty big bright spot on defense, I think Keyshawn Nixon's held up really well, not only in the pass and not giving up explosives, but also with his help and run defense.
I think you took my notes today. Like there's so many bullet points that you're just scooping right off of mine.
Both of us came prepped and ready.
There you go. I'm going to flip it real quick to the offense. As interesting as this sounds, because I think we're just at that point now, we're going to have to game plan how people used to game plan against us in the terms of, man, we got to do everything we can to keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands, milk the clock, take the play clock down, do a bunch of runs, long drives. I feel like that's the Packers' approach for Justin Herbert on offense. Let's keep the defense off the field for as long as possible, give them the rest that they need, like long 8, 9, 10, 12 play drives, get A.J. Dillon going, get Aaron Jones going, short hitters, 3rd and 1s, and convert. Like that's the plan for this offense, is to help the defense.
Do we have telepathic powers going on, or did you hack my phone and steal my notes? Because I mean, thinking of keys to the game, okay, keep the ball at Aaron Rodgers' hands. Well, we're facing basically an Aaron Rodgers this Sunday, and that's going to be the way to keep him off the field. You want to know what's unfortunate about it, Dave? And we kind of know this Packers team and how they game plan offense.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, we're going to try to match them as much as possible on offense. We're going to spread it out. There's not going to be a ton of carries by it. They're going to get up by 14 on us, and we're going to go into our 2-minute drive offense and try to sling it all over the yard. Like I've heard it a couple times this week in press conferences that we got to match them. When I hear match them, I think of, all right, we're gonna try taking a lot of deep shots down the field with this offense. And I will bring up one thing that I don't think we got time today to defend Jordan Love and some of the things that are being said about his short passing game, intermediate, and he's got some great throws, but not enough good throws.
Right.
Christian Watson. So I went back and watched the All-22 from the past 3 games on Christian Watson and all of his routes. And I can tell you these few things, Dave, and the rest of Packers Nations out there. Number one, when you watch the All-22, Christian runs a ton of deep, long routes.
Yeah.
And it seems as though he's the clear-out guy for this Packers offense. You're starting to wonder why Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks are getting open in the middle of the field so frequently. That's one of the reasons for that. Not to say that Christian Watson's a decoy in this offense, but he's bringing the safety back there with him. Number 2, when you watch the All-22, Jordan Love has a lot of predetermined reads where he's going to one side of the field and he's not necessarily staring down his guy, but you can see he's not looking to Christian Watson a ton. Number 3 would be that there are some routes here and there that might not be as crisp by Christian Watson, or they're not ran quite as hard. It's really hard to pick up on that. And last but not least, like Rashawn Gary and his sack count being down the past 5 weeks, these teams are game planning for Christian Watson. He's our number 1 guy. They saw what he did last year in the second half of the year. So Christian Watson and everybody's saying that, we need to cut him, and we hear about some of the drama that's unfolding with his family members chiming in. I just want to say to everybody, let's slow our roll on Christian Watson. The offensive game plan's changing a little bit with him. I think he's doing A-okay with where he's at, and just need to give him some time. But yeah, a lot of it's a lot of long, deep routes by Christian Watson and players like Dontavian and Jaden underneath that we're hitting them on.
They need to do a little bit more of what they did to open up the Steelers game. The slant, the crosser, get him into a rhythm, then kind of open some stuff up, or run some rub routes with him, some drags, get him in some open space, let him do his thing. I know I'm with you with the Christian Watson thing. To me, though, I'm looking at these next stretch of games and that offense, I want to still see the same stuff from Jordan Love. You know, the wild throws with more consistency with the good throws and the easy throws. But in terms of wide receivers, more of Musgrave, more of Reed, more of Wicks. Those are the three guys that I've highlighted saying, I want to see development. I want to see good route running, get open, make a guy miss, stay on your feet, Bambi of Musgrave. You know what I mean? Like, there's good things to be had with those three players, and Dobbs has shown a knack for getting into the end zone, being the red zone threat, but I think Dobbs needs to expand the game beyond that. So that's kind of my headspace heading into these 3 or 4 games. I don't care about the outcome. I would love a win, but I want to see this team take a major step forward of what we expected.
Yeah, 2 quick I wholeheartedly agree with all those things you said. 2 quick questions off of that. Number 1, do you think with Christian Watson, the rub routes, the slants underneath guy this year? We have yet to hand him the ball off. Like Christian Watson, he was like really regaled to being your end around guy. You give him the jet sweep. Do you think that's another way to get him involved in the offense? Like actually hand him the ball off at one of these times and have it be like the Chicago at Soldier Field end around with Sammy Watkins block and he's flying into the end zone? That's my first question. My second question.
So let me answer the first one first.
A Lambeau leaper this year. So who do you think is that's going? The easy pick would be Romeo Doubs.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got cut off at the very. What about a Lambeau leap? I'm sorry, you got cut off.
Yeah, it keeps going in and out between Wi-Fi and data. They're putting up a lot of the Christmas ornaments here, so I think that's throwing off the Wi-Fi. And there it goes back to data anyways. My question about the Lambeau leaper is we have yet to have one at Lambeau. Everybody wants to celebrate with the rest of the team, so Romeo Doubs could be your easy pick for Lambeau leaper because he gets our touchdowns in the red zone. But Christian Watson, end arounds, and who's going to be your first Lambeau leaper if it does happen this Sunday?
Okay, so Watson, I think that the end arounds game has been completely mapped out where defenses just know it's coming. They either know the look, they know the motion tour for it. I don't think motion, as much as I'd love for that to be part of the game, I think they would just read that instantly, that knowing it's going to Christian. So I think more of your game is the hitches, the slants, the drags, the crossers, instead of just the quick, like what you see from Rodgers before, the shovel pass in front real quick or the just handoff to the wide receiver. I think teams have read that really well with the Packers, or even the bubble screen. I think that's getting blown up right away. Lambeau leap. So I was going to say Jones, but Jones has been struggling with a hamstring. I don't think he's willing to go up there. I'm going to say Jayden Reed. I think Jayden Reed's going to get a touchdown this game. And I think Reed's going to be like, F it, I'm going in the stands.
Because Luke Musgrave in his touchdown against the Rams didn't even look as if he...
It was slick. And okay. Yeah. There's rain on the field at the time. I'm going to say
it wasn't. Yeah. I would say the elements did play a part of that game. JT O'Sullivan brought up a QB school. He was like, I don't know how much the rain made a difference. It did when you watch the Rams struggle with getting the snap off. But you're going with Reed for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jay Love. He has a touchdown at home against the Saints rushing. I could see another one that you can tell when the pocket breaks down that he'll maybe get to his second read, but he's not afraid to take off and scramble. And to JT O'Sullivan's point, Love has been great on schedule and on routine. It's when things aren't, within the stature of the offense that things get a little bit happy feet back there for him. But so that's sort of the next progression of Love there with them. And I see Jordan Love being our first Lambeau of the Leaper this Sunday against the Chargers. It's probably a good time to bring up Dave.
So I had 1 point. Game. Sorry. Yeah, I'll go predictions, but I had 1 point to year Lambeau Leap because it rattled something in my mind that I wanted to bring up real quick.
Yeah.
McCarthy always taught the history of Green Bay to the rookies, like the historical aspect of it, and I'm sure LaFleur does the same thing. There could be something to your Lambeau Leap of there's so many young players on this team that they don't necessarily realize the significance of the leap or what is around them. Because there was times where rookies or second year guys got a touchdown and you would see Rodgers point to the crowd, like, go up there, get up there. Like, Love is in his first year. Like, that's kind of some of the leadership or historical aspect that's kind of missing from having such a young team is that interaction with the Green Bay fans that might not be coming to their forefront of their minds like veterans realize.
One of the first thing that comes to mind, which is to that point, is the Packers no longer go to St. Norbert's College for training camp. So I know LaFleur's kind of gotten away from that. Also, he doesn't have traditional captains this year. That's not as much about the history. But, yeah, there's some things being done differently that some of these veterans are going to have to be pointing. You're going to have your Aaron Jones pointing to the stands to get those rookies up there. Cause
get up there, buddy.
Luke Musgrave didn't look towards it. Understand that it was a slippery field, but a lot of those other guys, like they immediately want to go to celebrate with their team, and I love it. And they only have so much time. It's either you got to pick a Lambeau Leap or celebrate with the team. But come on now, hey, it's Lambeau Leap for a reason.
I know, and a lot of these guys. A lot of the guys, it's their first big play in the NFL, right? It's their first touchdown. It's their like they can keep the ball and do all like. There's a whole bunch of different stuff rattling through their minds.
Guess what? I guarantee if Keenan Allen gets a touchdown, he's going to be looking to leap up there, or one of the other Chargers players, because they love to try to find their little group of Charger fans and get up there.
But we'll switch to a quick game score for you, so you can get out of the cold of Lambeau.
I'm feeling good now. I'm more the sun's on me, but
I have this getting ugly fast, man. I got 35-13 Chargers.
Dang, I was going 34-20 Chargers.
Okay.
And I will say, so 34-20, this is going to be Love's first game with 300 yards passing. You can go ahead and book it. And besides that, I don't see Aaron Jones having more than 15 touches on the ground. We're going to try to spread them out and match them with points. It's not going to happen. And Justin Herbert, he's going to have a field day with it. I'm going to be thoroughly entertained at Lambeau watching him. If you haven't noticed by now, like, I'm a really big Justin Herbert fan. It's kind of like NBA games when you're not going as much for the teams as for the players. Like, I just can't wait to see the way the ball comes off Justin Herbert's hand on Sunday in this matchup. But and then your Lambeau Leaper, Jaden Reed, and I got Jordan Love. Thing is, if Dontavian Wicks gets a touchdown, that's his first at Lambeau. It's a big moment for him. He might not know to get up there either.
Yeah, that's true. All right, man. Well, you enjoy the show. I'm sure there'll be plenty of fireworks. I don't know if it'll be for our team, though. And we'll get after it after the game.
We will be here. Until Sunday, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Cheers.